unlovable. It was always cold, no sunshine. You're running down a dream that never would come to me. Working on a mystery, going wherever it leads. Running down a dream.
not foresee this thing happening to you. If I look hard enough into the setting sun, my love will laugh with me before the morning comes. I see a red door and I want it painted black. No colors anymore, I want them to turn black. I see the girls go by dressed in their summer clothes. I have to turn my head until my darkness goes. I wanna see a face, clean as black, black as night, black as coal. I wanna see the sun, blotted out from the sky. I wanna see a face, clean as black, yeah. When there's lightning, you know it always brings me down. 'Cause it's free and I see that it's me who's lost and never found. I'm crying for magic. I feel it dancing in the light. It was cold, lost my hold to the shadows of the night. No sign of the morning coming. You've been left on your own, like a rainbow in the dark. A rainbow in the dark. Do your demons, do they ever let you go? When you try, do they hide deep inside? Is it someone that you know? You're just a picture. You're an image caught in time. We're a lie. You and I, we're walls without a rise. There's no sign of the morning coming. You've been left on your own, like a rainbow in the dark. Just a rainbow in the dark.
Well, welcome everyone. My name is Kim Toft. I'm going to cry already. Kim Toft, and I'm Sarah's mom. And I want to welcome you all on behalf of the Kay family. We want to acknowledge that we also have people on live stream viewing this, so we welcome them as well. This is going to be a very low-key, dare I say casual, celebration of Paul, and that would be in keeping with what Paul would have wanted. The slideshow, as you've been seeing, has been on loop, and I'm sure there's people in the room that can explain who, what, where certain things are. The boys at the table could certainly do the family explanation of where things, who is what and where. So we're going to get right started right away, and we're going to call on Mitchell, Sarah's brother, to do the eulogy.
So we're here today to celebrate and remember Paul Kay. Paul grew up on Manitoulin Island, one of 11 kids, in a big, hardworking family. He was shaped by that life early on, tough, stubborn, rough around the edges, and always unapologetically himself. He left home when he was just a teenager to chase his dream of being a welder, and that job carried him all over the place. Eventually, he made his way west, all the way to Fort Nelson, BC, where he became a dad. And that was it. That was the role that mattered most. Mitchell, Brody, and Ava were his world. He lived for his kids. They weren't just part of his life, they were his life. If you knew Paul, you knew he worked hard. You knew he was driven, couldn't sit still, and loved to banter. He was never shy to speak his mind. He was blunt but lovable. But under that tough shell was a man who loved and protected his family fiercely. In 2016, Sarah came into his life. She fell in love with Paul and his kids, and she became their bonus mom. Together, they made a home filled with love, laughter, and stories that'll carry on with them always. Paul's legacy just isn't the work he did or the places he lived. It's his grit, his honesty, and deep love he cared for his family. He leaves behind big shoes to fill, but also big love to hold on to. He'll be remembered in stories, in laughter, and most of all his kids, the ones he was so proud of every single day. Paul was survived by his spouse, Sarah, his children, Mitchell, Brody, and Ava, his mother, Janet, his brothers, Bob and Sarah, Ron and Tammy, Larry and Gladys, and Doug, his sisters, Nancy, Diane, Lori and Jerry, and Ruth and Ken, and his sister-in-law, Charlene. He is reunited now with his father, Ken, his brothers, Tabby and Kevin, and his nephew, Kenny. We also can't forget the rest of his family, friends, and coworkers, and everyone else who had the opportunity to know him. Paul was lucky too, lucky to have an amazing family in his life who loved him for exactly who he was. He made an impression on so many lives, and his memories will live on in each of us who were fortunate enough to be a part of it.
Thank you, Mitchell. At this point, Sarah would like to come up and share a couple memories and read a poem.
Hi, my name's Sarah. Paul and I were together for close to 10 years. For those of you that knew Paul, you knew that he didn't let very many people in. He gave a lot of tough love. His delivery was poor, and he always had an opinion whether you wanted to hear it or not. He loved to banter and joke around and have a good laugh as well. He was the kind of guy that would help any stranger on the side of the road. He was the kind of guy that people knew to call. If a tourist was stranded in town and needed their trailer or truck or RV or camper or whatever worked on, needing some welding, and he would drop whatever he was doing to go take care of them out of the goodnesses of his own heart, and never accepted any payment or compensation. I remember one trip heading down to Kelowna from Fort Nelson, which is like a 14 or so hour drive, depending on who you're driving with. Dad. And we got to like past Chatwin, and we got into the Pine Pass. And we got to the part of the Pine Pass where there's steep hills and no service. And on one of those steep hills, there was an RV pulled over with the hood open. And so Paul found a place to turn around, and we went back and we met up with him. He helped him out the best he could until whatever his diagnosis was, he realized that they actually needed some parts. So we just had the truck, and we packed him and his wife into the truck, and we drove another half hour, 45 minutes back towards Chatwin, back towards Fort Nelson. I think we ended up having lunch with them, and then waited for the tow truck. And then we carried on our trip. Actually, that's the same trip that I just dozed off for a little bit and woke up and I said, I'd been on that trip a couple times a year for 39 years. And I said, where are we? And he said, we're almost in Bella Coola. And if anybody knows the trip, it's like Prince George, Quesnel, Williams Lake, and then you take a left. Okay? Paul took a right. So an hour and a half later, he's almost in Bella Coola. I said, oh, good. We're going the wrong way. And as much as you can't tell that man anything, I proved it to him with the nav. There was a bunch of words, a lot of feelings, and then we turned around, and 3 hours later, we were back in Williams Lake. We ended up traveling throughout the whole night that night, and I think we rolled into Kelowna at like 6 a.m., both of us just over each other, over the drive, you know, but all that started from him being who he is, authentically wanting to help people out. I had to write some notes because I was going to get up here and I know I was going to get nervous. A fewer people got to see the softer side of Paul. He was loving and comforting. He never hesitated to help the people around him out. And that's how he showed his love. He was also our big protector. If there was ever a time where we didn't get the help we needed on something, or our customer service was really putting us through the ringer, we'd actually used to joke that, well, you're not going to want to talk to our customer service department. And there were a few times where I said, like, sir, you're going to want to deal with me on this one. You're not going to want to deal with my customer service department, I promise you. And there were a few occasions where they found out the hard way that they did not want to deal with our customer service department. And, you know, sometimes we had to leave the room for that part, and sometimes we enjoyed it, depending on who it was he was talking to. The other one was like scammers. If you ever want to see Paul like a kid in a candy store, let him know that a scammer's on the line. Because you never seen that man skip. He'd be mad that I told you he skips. To grab your phone and like just run away with these scammers. He was like a kid in a candy store. He absolutely loved it. And you know, we'd go on days and days laughing about what he did to the scammer that time. Another thing that I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life is Kim Mitchell's song, Patio Lanterns. I guess back in Paul's younger days, he went to a Kim Mitchell concert, and every time, like I said, almost 10 years, every time we would hear Patio Lanterns, whether it was on a radio or on his playlist or in a restaurant or in a store or an elevator, he'd be like, oh, I went to this concert. I saw Kim Mitchell. Best concert I've ever been to. For 10 years. Every time we heard the song. So we'd be like, oh, I love this song. You wanna know why? Like, you went to their concert. Yeah, best concert I ever had. Best concert I've ever been to. And it would, again, oh, Kim Mitchell, I love this song. You don't wanna know why? Best concert you ever been to, you went to when they were younger, best concert. He'd be like, yeah. I said, you tell me that every time. It's a lot of times. And he's like, well, I just want to make sure you know. So now for the rest of my life, anytime I hear Patio Lanterns, I'm going to be like, oh, you. Paul was also my like peanut and pretzel eater. Anytime there was some sort of mix, had peanuts and pretzels, I would always eat around them. And then hand the bowl over to him, and he would always eat the pretzels and the peanuts. And whatever he had, he would eat the pretzel and peanuts, whatever he wanted, and then he would hand the rest of the bowl to me, and I'd have the rest of them. My brother, actually, Mitchell, makes a wicked mix, and we love that mix, and pretzels and peanuts, and I would get the rest. So that'll be something that I miss as well. I won't have to miss it too much because that's now Ava. Ava's my peanut, my pretzel girl. Paul and I have been through a lot in the time that we were together. We always stayed by each other's side. We always supported each other. We loved each other very much. It's really strange to think of a future without him going through it with me. We, I can't see anymore. Should the big print. We had dreams, we had goals, we had future plans. We had places that we wanted to go together, and we had a vision of what our life would be like. And that's all looking a lot different now. So, thank you, Mom. When I go through something heartbreaking or traumatizing, there's something that steals a bit of my heart and soul and leaves a void, I write. So I wrote this poem to Paul. It's called In a World Without You. A world without you by my side, I can't exist where we don't collide. No words were spoken, no last embrace. I close my eyes just to see your face. The words we left unsaid still stay. They echo through the day to day. I'm a broken mess that can't sit still because pain is something love can't kill. I wake and reach to pull you near, but all I find is silence here. So here I am and there you stay, out of reach, just torn away. Your empty chair, the quiet stairs. No echo of laughter fills the air. I search, but you cannot be found. Not even your shadow hangs around. What I would give to calm these tears, to see you walk in and calm my fears, to hear hi babe and feel your kiss. The daily things I deeply miss. The future that we painted has faded to black. This life without you won't hold back. I miss you in the joy I find. I miss you when the world's unkind. I miss you on the days I shine. But even harder still when I can't climb. I search for you inside my dreams, inside my sleep, in my dreams, so dark, scary, and deep. I try to find and hold you tight, but lose again and again every night. Yet every night I close my eyes, still hoping this is all disguise. That I'll wake up and it won't be true. That I'll reach out and I find you. But the dawn still comes and the truth is cruel. And I wake up each day feeling no renewal. The world moves on, but mine stands still. There's an emptiness that I can't fill. Yet my love for you won't disappear. You're gone, but still I pray you're near. And every shadow, every tear, I wait for your whisper, I'm still here. Thank you.
All right, so at this point, as Sarah had demonstrated some sharing of stories, at this point in our afternoon, if this is the time anybody would like to come up or share a story or share a message, I know sometimes that's a bit hard and awkward, but I'll share one. And you saw a clip in here where we were all bundled up and there was a fire pit. So the last time we were in Fort Nelson, we decided to get a real Christmas tree. We'd had real Christmas trees for many years, went to the fake, and our last Christmas, Doug said, we're going to have a real tree. So that was an event. That was an event that required 2 trucks. It required chainsaws. It required a dog. It required a fire pit with hot dogs and marshmallows, s'mores. And the biggest thing for me was, so Mitchell and Doug and Paul down off this road, down into a whatever, out to the trees. And they're alone out there, and no one could see them. And suddenly the tree would go, and the snow would go, like, oh, yes, okay, they're coming, they're coming, they're coming. Nope, they didn't like that one. Then the next one, oh, they didn't like that one. And you could hear Paul saying, yelling, like saying, we're going to get this one, we're going to get this one. And then, to get the dog out of the way. And all of a sudden, there was a crack. It was so loud because it was so cold. And the tree come down, and there's Paul and Mitchell and the dog jumping over and back of the tree, dragging this up. My husband's coming behind, and I'm standing there at the road going, we're having hot dogs. We can have hot dogs now. And there we were, side of the road, middle of nowhere. Paul made sure we were going to get the best tree for our last tree. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, so if there's anybody who'd like to share, say something, have a message, this is your chance. That's okay. I sort of had a feeling. Sometimes it's easier to share while you're sitting and visiting at the table and having a snack, and that's what we encourage you to do. Just fill up your plates, have a snack, have a drink, and just talk about some things that is easier to share in the round table format. And if you would, if you thought about it too, if you hadn't signed the book when you come in, there is a section in there about a memory, and if you want to just jot something down there, that would be lovely too to have the family reflect on. So we are in closing, and first of all, and again, I'd like to thank you all for coming on behalf of the Kay family. And Sarah's asked me to read a poem that's in your folder, and I need my glasses. Could you make the font any smaller? Okay. This was an interesting choice that was made for here because when my mom passed away, this was the poem we had in hers as well, a portion of it. So it's very meaningful. When tomorrow starts without me. When tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not here to see, if the sun should rise and find your eyes all filled with tears for me, I wish you wouldn't cry the way you did today, while thinking of the many things we did not get to say. I know how much you love me, as much as I love you. Each time that you think of me, I know you will miss me too. When tomorrow starts without me, please try to understand that an angel came and called my name and took me by the hand. The angel said my place was ready in heaven far above, and that I would have to leave behind all those I dearly love. But when I walked through heaven's gates, it felt so much at home when God looked down and smiled at me from his golden throne. He said, this is eternity, and all I promised you today for life on earth is done, but here it starts anew. I promise no tomorrow, for today will always last, and since each day's the exact same way, there is no longing for the past. So when tomorrow starts without me, do not think we're apart. For every time you think of me, remember, I'm right here in your heart. And for that, we thank you. Enjoy your treats, share some events. That's it. Oh, come up also and have a look at the display. There's some pretty neat items up here. Thank you.
You know I'm a dreamer, but my heart's a gold.